The Executioner and Her Way of Life Volume 1 review. When it comes to the isekai genre, we see plenty of stories from the perspective of one being transported to or reborn in another world. But what about the existing residents of that world? Well, that's where the Executioner Way of Life comes in with the fresh takes on the concept. The story follows Meno, an executioner working for the Foss, the Church of this world, who is tasked with killing otherworlders. Her world has suffered many disasters thanks to otherworlders, humans who have been summoned from Japan and gained powerful abilities upon reaching this new world. Now the Foss has taken it upon themselves to kill any otherworlders who are summoned before the powers fully manifest. The trouble is the nobles of this world are obsessed with power and set the otherworlders as a way to become stronger than their neighboring countries. Before killing her target, Minot first attempts to make them trust her to find out if the power will be any hindrance to the assassination. This gives her the ability to carry out her attempts without getting into chaotic battles, but it also ends up being a big benefit on her next mission. Minot's latest task is to kill a girl called Akari, but what Minot thinks Akari's power is simply to heal. She quickly discovers that Akari actually has the power to turn back time if she's fatally wounded. Luckily for Minot, Akari retains no memory of having been killed, so Minot can at least pretend to be her friend while working out how to get rid of her once and for all. As to the Minot killing one's otherworlder, the majority of the story is taken up by her dealing with Akari. Because of Minot's assassination attempts failing, she's invited back to one of the headquarters for the Foss, where they said to have more powerful magic that can be used to kill otherworlders. This means that Minot and Akari would now be traveling together for a short while, which Akari is excited about. Minot is also heard that they're going to the Foss to send her back to Japan, so for now, she doesn't suspect a thing. Meanwhile, Minot is starting to grow attached to the girl. She posed problems later when it came to saying goodbye. The Executioner Way of Life has an interesting premise with the idea of the world so torn apart from other worlders that they need to start killing them both arrival. I like this spin of the genre. And given how much history there is to unpack, as well as secrets involved with the Foss, there is plenty to keep readers invested. Minot also makes for a compelling protagonist. She was drunk on disaster all over his own cheat, which left her orphan, resulting in her being taken in by the church. But she's also not weak. She's very serious by nature, but there's a kind of personality here, which is brought out by having Hakari around, but also get to see her daughter her subordinate. Momo plenty which adds to the depth of the character. Akari, for her part, is more stereotypical in terms of being a happy-go-lucky Japanese high school student which is fascinated by the new world she finds herself in. However, throughout this book, it's hinted that there is more to Akari than meets the eye, and ultimately keeping invested in her storyline. The author behind this series, Mato Sato Audrey, is not their first work. It's the first to make it to the English market. Also won first place at the 11th annual J.E. Bunko Prize. Is a run to the bigger girls in the dungeon. Also won previously. And afterwards, Moiwa Sato talks about how they wrote the book. It tells a comparable full of the things to enjoy and had to say that worked out well in the end. I find some of the dialogue rambles on a little too long in places, but otherwise the quality of the writing is good. I certainly see what it was given an award. It's also interesting that the series learns into being a Yuri in places, with Burakari Momo clearly being very attached to Menoi. And it will be interesting to see if the author does anything with that in future volumes. The illustrations, handled by Nilitsu, certainly lean into the idea of the series being a girl's love with some description, so the elements is like I hear to say. The Executioner Way of Life Volume 1 comes to the West thanks to Yen Press. It has been translated by Jenny Makian. The translation reads well. Although I did notice a couple of grammar issues and it didn't get caught. By no means an issue, but worth or nothing. The series is ongoing in Japan in 5 volumes, and Yen Press have Volume 2 scheduled for release in July. An anime adaptation has also been announced recently. Overall, The Execution Her Way of Life Volume 1 has an interesting premise and a likable cast. There are quite a few directions the author will take the story going forward, and I think that it will keep readers invested for at least another book or two. Worth a read if you're looking for a speed and an isekai genre. It's 9 out of 10.